All right. Well, unless anyone else has any other questions, then we're going to go ahead and switch gears and kind of talk a little bit about, kind of your experience with living up here in Alaska over the years, kind of the pros and cons, and the insights you have as a parent, and then kind of talk specifically about Eagle River.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, you've been up here for just a little bit.
My entire life.
Your entire life. Yeah. So
Yeah.
been up here for a while at this point.
Yeah.
So I guess from your perspective, what are the pros? What are the cons? Like, um, is this something you'd sign up for again?
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Alaska's wonderful and it's got everything anybody could ever imagine and want. Eventually, will I move? Probably so. But, I mean, if you are wanting to have if you're okay with not having the accessibility of the lower 48 at your immediate beck and call, then you're good. You've got the hiking, you've got fishing, you've got hunting, you've got anything you want. There's sports. The biggest thing that I would urge people when they're moving here is to not lock yourself up in your house and get out and do stuff. Do the events, do the little, if you're a runner, do the races. If you want to, you have your kids, go out and do the little fun activities that are put on in the winter, in the dark. Those are the things that most people, when they get here, don't understand, is that you've got to keep going and keep moving and get out and do stuff and explore. And then it's not so bad. And then and everybody here that lives in Alaska knows after winter solstice, then it's like amazing because the sun is out, everything starts opening up, and then you get geared up going towards spring. So yeah, would I do it again? Absolutely. And again, I move people that I've known for years out of Alaska and always tell them you will be back, and verbatim they are back. So it's amazing.
They just can't get away.
Yep. Yep.
I just can't get away. I mean, I'd have to really second you on the kind of talking about the need to really get out and really experience as much as you can. Because I mean, if you're not used to like the dark and the cold,
Yep.
like you're coming from a completely different climate, or you're coming from kind of a similar climate, but it's just a little bit little easier
Yeah.
than the climate we have up here, then it can do a number on you.
Yep.
Like I definitely have some. I haven't been diagnosed, so I don't want to say exactly what I've got, but probably some form of like seasonal depression or so. It's probably what it is. Like it
Yeah.
happens every year around the same months. I want to say, yeah.
Yeah. And, I always tell, and I was never a big firm believer on the vitamin D. Vitamin D is huge here, and 90% of us don't take enough of it. Vitamin D is huge. Exercise is huge. You go to work in the dark, you leave work in the dark, and it can really play a mental aspect on people. Get a happy light, put it at your desk, whatever you need to do. I mean, for me, I am out walking multiple times a day or running. I make sure that I have my four-legged furry friends with me, and I'm constantly out. And if it's dark, it's dark. You wear the appropriate gear, but you get out, and it definitely helps for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like you said before, really kind of leaning into community wherever it is that you find it is
Yep.
probably one of the biggest things you can do. And I
Yeah.
mean, it can be tough. Like there's a couple months out of the year, usually January, February, because I mean, after Christmas is done, like you've got nothing else to look forward to on the calendar
Yeah.
until summer.
Yeah.
So that's usually where it kind of sets in. And I mean, you have to kind of after a while, you kind of know what signs be looking for. You suddenly start feeling sluggish, and I'll just be sitting there like staring at the wall. It's like, okay, you have to get up and you have to go out. You have to talk to somebody
To
right
move.
now.
Yeah, you got to talk to a human. And there's so many things that you can do, whether you're in Anchorage or Wasilla or Eagle River, Palmer. We got a lot of great places that have weekly functions. I know, like in Eagle River this summer, the Ale House and out in the valley, they had all their concerts and they did all that during the summer. I imagine they'll probably do the same in the winter. There's bazaars that you can go to. There's concerts that you can go to. There's plays that you can go to. There's a lot of things that, like at Eagle River, they've got a magazine that comes out every couple of months that tells you what's going on in Eagle River. The valley, you could probably go and check out their stuff there too. And but yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do in the community that will help you keep moving and getting out. So
Yeah, and that's absolutely huge. I mean, even if you're just making up your own hobbies too, like it's just do something. Like there's a story a long time ago. I don't know if you remember this one, but the guy, this was, by the way, complete cabin fever. Wouldn't recommend it. You're probably going to get somebody's going to be making a wellness call for you if they catch you doing this. But what he did is every day in the winter, he had his hose out there, and he'd have it, shoot up, and then like it would like freeze, and it would add like another 6 or whatever inches of like ice on top of it. And then what he did is he took like a pipe and he like, rammed it down there back to the hose, and like did the whole process all over again, and just saw how high he could get this ice tower going. And like the picture, it was legitimately, I think, like 50 to 70 feet up.
Oh, God.
Just big dumb ice tower in this guy's front yard. It's like, dude, someone's should have called the wellness.
Yeah.
Called the cops to do a wellness check a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, that would be I definitely, if I saw my neighbor doing that, I'd be like, are you okay over there?
It's like, I'm pretty sure your support system has some holes in the net. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's funny.
Yeah. So Eagle River then. Let's go and talk about that then. For Eagle River, how have you liked living there? Have you lived there like the entire time you've been up here?
So no, I was born in Anchorage, raised out in Anchorage, Palmer. I moved here probably about 15 years ago, with my kids and my husband at the time. And, I like it. I like the schools. I like the community. The people are great. Everybody's really nice. It's a military community, so you got a lot of military people around, which are great. The hard part is befriending them because they leave. So I've met some really amazing people that ended up moving away. The one thing that I like about Eagle River is you're 30 minutes to the valley, you're 30 minutes to Anchorage. I mean, technically Anchorage, you're 15 minutes because if you get to the Muldoon area, I'm 30 minutes from work, 30 minutes from the valley. So you're 30 minutes from the malls, shopping, work. For some people, the opposite way out in the valley, you're out there for hiking, fishing, whatever you want to do out there, go farming, do you pick farm? You're in the immediate area of both locations. So it's amazing. And then at the same time, you look out your window and you got the views of Baldy, or you're driving into town, you got the blacktail back there. And, you want to go to the nature center. It's right down the road. You can do that. Lots of hiking, biking, fishing, you name it. It's all in Eagle River, but you also have that tight knit community of great people and everybody supporting each other. And then if you want to venture out to the other sides, they're just a hop, skip, and jumping away.
Right. I mean, one question that I get from people fairly often, they see a smaller community. Maybe they came from like a really small town before and kind of had a bad impression just with everybody kind of getting up in their business. So I can say it all day long, but kind of what's your impression about it being so small where, I mean, people are going to be up in your business. If you don't wave at somebody as you're going by, you're going to be in trouble later. Like how, what's your impression of that?
I don't, I mean, where I live right now, I mean, it's a neighborhood where everybody pretty much lives on top of each other, and we all pretty much just keep to ourselves. I mean, if you don't wave, you don't wave. If you do, you do. Depending on where you live in Eagle River, that might be different. There's the Highland area. Those people are all separated, so they're not really on top of each other. But if you're wanting to live in a community like that, where everybody waves at you and says hi to you all the time, your best bet would be to go to Palmer for that, because that's how they are there. Here, it's a little different because it's like Anchorage and Palmer combined, so you get a mixture of the two. You get some people that wave and some people that don't, and really nobody takes it personally. I don't think. I hope not.
Yeah, hopefully not. I think that's probably the best description I've heard of Eagle River. It's kind of a combination of Palmer and Anchorage.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. So, we have all of the restaurants. We've got all the stuff that Anchorage does, except for the movie theater anymore. And you get the military, you get the big city, you get the everything in between. And so it's sort of a hodgepodge of everything. So you get it all in one. And most people don't take offense to not waving at each other. It's just one of those things that it's a little bit different. If you want the hi, how are you waving, go to the valley. Everybody's very friendly there, and that's how they do things. Here's more city, country at the same time.
Yeah, and kind of the good thing about Eagle River is it's not like it's only about 34,000 people. So for most people come from larger communities, it's still going to have kind of that small town feel. But I mean, you're still going to have the Fred Meyers. You're still going to have
Walmart.
The Walmart, Best Buy is like 15 minutes away. You've still got
Lowe's is like 15 minutes away. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have a ton of Mexican restaurants you can choose from.
Mexican or Chinese, you choose. They're all here.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, they came in with a force, and that's pretty much all the restaurants we have now.
Yeah. That's definitely. I think we have more Mexican and Chinese food than we do anything else. So.
Yep, absolutely. So I do have one question here from John Wolf. How is Alaska for people that are into four-wheeling? I'm gonna let you answer that one first.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm not gonna lie. You can go anywhere. So out in the Matsu Valley, still to this day, you can drive down the side of the road on your four-wheeler. Eagle River, you cannot. You can load up and go out to the Matsu Valley. You can go to Knik River. You can go out into many places for four-wheeling, ATV and UTVs, whatever you want. There's a lot of places to go. So yeah, it's very highly recommended here that you have a UTV or an ATV as recreation. And a snow machine. I'm going to say snow machine, and somebody's going to be like, "What is a snow machine?" It's snowmobile.
I get those two mixed up all the time. All I know is there's a big visceral reaction if I get them mixed up. So
yeah, I get it a lot.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Alaska is kind of the mecca if you're going to be using any kind of ATVs, UTVs. Like, this is going to be kind of the place to be.
Yeah.
The place that I currently live, I mean, some of my best running trails are just like the ATV trails that are right alongside the road. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's great. Let's see here. So I guess talking a little bit more about Eagle River. Mm-hmm. What was kind of your experience with being a parent in Eagle River? Like, what were some of the likes you had? What were some of the dislikes?
I can't really say that I had any dislikes. I moved my kids from the valley to here when one was in elementary, and which was right across the street from my house, and then the other into junior high. I guess the only thing that I didn't like was that the Mirror Lake Middle School was so far away. That I didn't like. But I didn't really have any issues with the school, so to speak. I felt that they were adequate and did their jobs and communicated well with the families. It's been years, though, since my kids have been in school, so I don't know how much things have changed.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, Eagle River seems pretty well set up for kind of supporting families and kids, and that really has kind of been my impression of the community. Obviously, I don't have any kids myself, but just speaking with a lot of people, that's kind of been my impression from what I've seen of the town. But
Yeah. I mean, they're huge on sports. Hockey is huge here. Football is huge here. Volleyball is huge here. My kids were wrestlers, so wrestling is huge here. Wrestling is huge in the state of Alaska, period. There's all sorts of things. And most of the parents here that have kids are involved in sports, especially during the wintertime, because what else are you going to do? And so they get really involved in their sports, and it's actually pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that West Texas sports vibe up here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right, got a question real quick from Money Dog. So, what would you think for a retired person to live in Willow? Monthly cost of living if he was to purchase his own home with cash? So, let me take this one first.
Mhm.
If you're just buying a place with cash, the first question would be: are we looking at a dry cabin? Are we looking at, buying land and parking some kind of an RV on it? If you're looking at just doing a dry cabin and just heating it with wood, your cost and everything is going to be pretty low. The big question I would have is really kind of maintenance on the structure, like what's your plan as far as the heating goes, and the other one is just kind of the obviously you're going to have to pay for like groceries and stuff like that. Me personally, I'll usually spend around 250, maybe 350 or so all in on like food and groceries and all that stuff every month. Now, I'm a single guy and I'm going to like Costco a lot and buying things in bulk. So, take whatever estimate I give you with a big grain of salt. For some people, that might be a lot less, that might be a lot more. Um, so I think if you have your housing all figured out and you're in Willow, the lifestyle there isn't that it's going to be big and expensive. I think you could probably do it for like probably under 1,500. Even that might be high. But what do you think, Nicole?
Well, I mean, it depends too if they decide to do solar, because then if they do solar, then you have your backup generator for your electricity, so your electric bill would be low. But then you got gas, and gas is really expensive right now. If you do propane heat, like I do at my cabin out in Willow, it can get expensive. But in general, I mean, it depends on what part of Willow, though, because you've got Willow and then you've got further in between, like Talkeetna, in between Talkeetna and Willow, there's the Caswell area. And that's, I mean, their houses back there, basically. So I think that, if you're not planning to drive into Anchorage on a regular basis to get your groceries and you can get them all out there and support local, then yeah, I think you're about right about what the cost would be per month. And again, depending on if you're doing solar or depending on what you're using for heat. If you're doing wood right now, a cord of wood is over $1,000. So, I mean, hopefully you're not doing wood, and you got to make sure you're getting good wood, So, I would say if you're going to have a place out in Willow, I would do fuel and have it delivered. If it's going to be your permanent residence anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of people reach out and they want to use, I think it's like the wood stove as the primary source of heat, and
Mhm.
you can do that. Um, but it is going to be a lot of work. Like, even if you've got 10, 20 acres, you've got all the wood in the world, it is still a lot of work
Well, yeah,
to
because you got to
split wood.
cut it, split it. It's got to dry. You aren't going to heat your house with wet wood.
Yeah, found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
So,
Also,
and yeah,
one
yeah,
of
and
the other things is with the wood stove, you've got to make sure that you can insure your house with a wood stove, because not all places will insure you if you have a wood stove. Um, I found that, at least at my cabin, that can't be your primary source of heat. In order for you to have insurance on your place, you have to have two different types. So I have propane and wood at my cabin, and that can be insured.
right, right. And that really is the big thing. I know there are like some cabin loans specifically, but yeah,
Mhm.
usually you need to have like two sources of heat in there.
Yeah.
And, kind of what you mentioned about the type of wood too.
Hmm.
This might be a sidebar. I don't know if anyone's really going to get any value out of, but if you're going to burn it, like try to go with try to go with the birch as best as you can, and just peel the bark off of that, because I mean the bark, yeah, it ignites really quickly. It'll burn
Yep.
really well, but it can create a lot of creosote. That's kind of this black sooty stuff that gets caked like
Mm-hmm.
up and down the side of the chimney pipe.
Yep.
So yeah, obviously you want to try to keep that down as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Birch works pretty good as well, but it's going to be very hot. It's going to burn fast, and then you've got the sap and all that other stuff that can get up into the chimney too. So
Yep.
yeah, dry birch is going to be a pretty good source for you.
Yep.
All right, we've got a couple more questions here. So, what is a rough estimate on a cost for a dry cabin with loft with today's supply chain issues? So supply chain issues. So we're talking about building something or an existing one. You know what? Cabins, I've done a little bit with them, not a whole lot though. So I'd say probably with a loft. And Nicole, tell me if I'm completely off base.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet you could probably get a dry cabin with a loft, probably under 200,000. Is that?
Depending on the acreage, depending on where you're at.
Right.
There's some places where my cabin's at. It's in Caswell, and I mean, some of those places are $7,000 or $8,000 for a dry cabin with nothing but the cabin. Nothing's done to the property. You just go there, and there's no electricity. There's no nothing.
Just middle of the woods.
Yeah, but if you're wanting anything else, I mean, 200,000 out in Caswell, that is a mansion.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Depending on how much land you have. I mean, my cabin is quite large, and it only appraises at 30,000. So, and it's on an acre and or half an acre. So, it just depends on where you're going, I think. And you can actually go onto the Matsu Borough page and see what they have out there and see what everything is listed at too. So, which you can do. I don't know, because I bought my place, the land itself by itself, and then we built. So I don't know what a dry cabin would be, but yeah, 200,000 would be quite high, I would think.
Gotcha. And yeah, that's just kind of throwing it out there.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm assuming some kind of acreage in there, but I mean, there's just so much. I mean, it's just like a house. You've got a ton of variables, and a cabin's going to be the same way. Like you're saying, is it in Caswell? Is it in Willow proper? Are we talking Meadow Lakes? Like,
are you talking a lake? Are you on a lake with a dock? There's a lot of variables. So it can range from really super cheap with a little shack on the property to a big place, on lots of land. I mean, there's some places that are flying that have a dry cabin with a loft that you have to fly in or, get in another way. And you're talking 200,000 all day long, but that's a lot of acreage too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let me pull this one up real quick here from K10A. So, is Matsu Valley a place for younger people in their 20s without kids from a big lower 48 city, or is Anchorage going to be an option? I'll let you take that one first.
I would say go to the Matsu Valley. Right now, the Matsu Valley is pretty much got everything that Anchorage does, less crime that I'm aware of. Anchorage is just so congested, and you're not going to find, I personally don't think, and I could be wrong, you're not going to find what you want in a house price range in Anchorage that you're not sitting on top of somebody. Being in your 20s, I think the Matsu Valley is going to give you more options, more stuff to do. Again, you're only an hour out from Anchorage, so if you want to go to Anchorage and see a play, or I don't know what young 20-year-olds do these days. But, I personally, if my son was to come back from North Carolina, I would be urging him to move to the Valley versus move to Anchorage or Eagle River.
Yeah. I mean, it all comes down to what what it is that you're wanting to do too.
Yeah.
And kind of what you're into as well. If you're really outdoorsy and like you're going to spend every spare minute outside, like Matsu Valley.
Mhm.
You're probably going to find a better niche over there. And I mean, housing by and large is going to be on the cheaper side over here. And then you can still commute into Anchorage and get the higher paying job. Now, the price of fuel lately, what people, okay, well, let me back up. What people were doing for all the years leading up till now and in the current time is live in the Matsu Valley where the cost of housing is a lot lower. Average sold price here is right about 385 for a house, whereas the average sold price in Anchorage is right around 475 or so, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And looking at the rent, the average rent in Anchorage is about 1,400. Average rent over in the Matsu Valley is closer to 11. So a lot of people would live in the Matsu Valley because it's cheaper to live, and then they would go work in Anchorage where the wages are going to be higher.
Mm-hmm.
With the cost of gas being what it is, though, I'm really curious to see like how that shakes out, though.
Well, it's cheaper for gas in the Matsu Valley than it is in Eagle River and Anchorage. So I'm in the valley quite a bit, and I actually fill up in the valley whenever I'm there, even if I'm at a half a tank, because the gas is cheaper in the valley than it is in Anchorage or Eagle River.
Perfect. So, guys, my battery is starting to go a little low here. We are just going to go until this thing dies on us, though. So, if I suddenly cut out, that's what's going on. So, let's see. Looking at Rocky Mountain Trader, Willow, I hear propane and wood. What about heating oil? Average price per month?
Oh, well, I don't know what the average price per month is because I don't use heating oil, but yes, you can do heating oil and they will actually deliver it out in Willow into Talkeetna and all of that. I think it's Fisher's Fuel is who does the deliveries out there. So you could probably check their website to find out what the average price is per month. But if you get a big enough tank, you don't have to do it per month. You can do it per 6 months, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's a smart way to do it. And did you mention how much it would cost to bring out a tank?
I don't know that either, but you can buy a tank sometimes you can buy them used. You can buy a tank and have them delivered. I don't know what the cost is. I saw a tank actually on Marketplace, and they were selling a big tank out of Big Lake for like $350. But you got to have a stand for it and all of that stuff too. So, yeah, I really don't know a whole lot about the fuel. I do know Fisher Fuel is who you would talk to for getting the cost, and then they should be able to help you out with any of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty useless when it comes to talking about oil and stuff, guys. Not gonna lie, I know about it a little bit just because I was looking for a little bit at purchasing a property over in Seward, and so kind of had to get familiar with it there. But yeah, I haven't personally worked with a whole lot of them. Let's see, Mr. Stans Percival, $1,000 a cord for wood. Yep, not too long ago, I could cut, split, and sold delivered for $75 a cord. Wow, that's
that's
that was a bargain for the time.
I'd be buying like 5 cords right now for my cabin. I can't. Yeah, I mean, I literally was trying to get some wood, and it was wet wood, and they wanted $750 for a cord of wood for wet wood. So, yeah, if you want dry, you're going to pay a lot right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of got the same issue right now. Like it was just such a rainy season. I went out and like cut a bunch of wood on my property and brought it over. Just going to use that. But I mean, even sitting under the tarp for like a month or so, it's still kind of wet wood. So drying it out, I've got like 2 big fans just blowing on it in the garage, trying to dry that out. But
make sure you have it standing up like this. Don't have it laying down like this. If you have it standing up like this, it'll dry faster.
That is a really good point. And yeah, I'll have to. I mean, the whole stack almost did that anyway. Like I had it all stacked up. I feel like I put shamed my father or something. Like I had it all stacked up, and the blocks I had on either end didn't work. It just collapsed on both sides. Like almost fell over on top of us too. So it was a disaster. So yeah, that we're halfway there. Let's just put it that way. All right, from Mr. Joe Wolf. What internet connection options are available in Wasilla? I work in tech and need a decent, reliable connection. Not worried so much about costs. I am budgeting $300 a month. So
Hmm.
I personally use MTA, and I think I've got some kind of a business plan with them. I think it's roughly about 140 a month. And I mean, it's pretty decent. I haven't really had any issues with it up till now. I will also say though, like if I'm uploading, downloading stuff, I am definitely going to go just mooch off of like my office's Wi-Fi and use their stuff for doing that, because that's really how you consume a lot of your internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything to add to that?
No, I use GCI. I work from home 2 days a week. I don't know. I use them for everything, but Verizon I heard is pretty reasonable. I was looking at maybe going to them. I used to have MTA, but I switched out from them. It was more expensive. But for a business account, that's not bad. 150. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was yeah, not too shabby. Not too shabby. Now I did have to tell them to knock off all the a ton of like extra stuff they kept trying to add in there. And it's like, oh, for just a little bit more, you can get this protection of blah blah blah. It's like, I mean, or just not click on any links I don't need to click on.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. All right, Mr. Money Dog. So, how do you feel about Willow for living as well as I like my hunting and fishing and exploring? Okay, so we're talking about living in Willow just as a place to live.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, Nicole, you're much better.
Uh, again, it depends on what part of Willow you're talking. Um, there's, I mean, Willow in general is beautiful. So if you want to like live where there's nobody really around except for the little bit of the Willow community, it's an amazing place. It's got a grocery store, a little mini one. There's little couple gas stations. There's little things that the community does itself. Um, I don't live there, so I can't really like give you like huge like woohoo go live in Willow. But if you want to hunt and fish and exploring, Willow's not a bad place because again, you're in between with Willow. You've got the Caswell Meadow Lakes area. You've got Talkeetna, and then you can go further into Denali. So and then you go the opposite way, and you can get Houston, and you've got Wasilla. So if you want to live remote, but not so remote that you're in the middle of nowhere, Willow is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah. There's for a lot of you who are watching, you're probably also watching some off-grid YouTube channels, and Willows may or may not be the area that those individuals kind of gravitate towards. So
Yeah. I
behind the
yeah, I mean, a lot of the sled dog teams live out in the Willow area. Um, so it's not as remote. You still have the internet, you still have all of that. It's just more wide open, more widespread, I should say. You don't live on top of each other. You don't really have neighbors that are right next to you. It's not a bad place. It's beautiful. Just, I like my Eagle River.
yeah. I mean, me personally, I need some more people around.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I think Wasilla is probably about the smallest I can go before I start feeling the walls closing in on me.
Yeah.
Just because there's so few people, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Need to have a little bit more people around me. I don't want to live in an apartment necessarily, but I do need more people around.
Yeah.
All right, couple more here. This one from Alicia. So, should I look for a house with a sump pump in most areas of the Matsu Valley? So, if you can, it's best if you can find a place with a sump pump if it's necessary. And when I say it's necessary, is does it have a crawl space? Because what we've seen is if it's just like a slab of concrete for the foundation, you're not going to like the sump pump is going to be irrelevant to you. In most areas, they're going to have some kind of a sump pump, especially if it seasonally they do get a lot of moisture down there. Really, the big thing when you're going down into the crawl space initially is you want to look and see if you can see signs of any kind of water staining on top of the vapor barrier. And the vapor barrier is just this piece of thick plastic that they lay down on the ground just to make sure the moisture actually stays down into the ground and doesn't go up into the house in any way. So that's really the big thing. Sump pump is not a deal breaker, especially if the ground doesn't particularly get wet during the breakup season. If you have a crawl space, I mean, all of them are going to have some level of moisture in them just because, that's how it works, especially during the breakup season, because you've got all those months worth of snow piling up. It's all melting. It's going into the ground. It's got to go somewhere. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents there. And do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I have a sub pump. I mean, I know when it's springtime because you can hear it out your window at night.
Yep. Working overtime.
Then you got to go down and check to make sure that everything is okay down there. The people, my next door neighbors that are attached to me, not them, but in particular, but they had an issue where their sump pump was not going off. They moved out and had, for whatever reason, plugged up the sinks and let the water run, and there was major flooding. And when we went over and opened up the crawl space, you couldn't get into the crawl space because it was full of water.
So, that's awful.
Yeah, so it was bad. But I mean, I think that, especially where I live, you need a sump pump. I'm on a rock, and so anything around me goes underneath in the springtime when the snow melts. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, lately I'm probably less concerned about sump pumps and like moisture in the crawl space. I'm probably more thinking about radon, honestly. Which this is something I found out about just like a week or so ago, that apparently radon is Alaska is the number one place in the country for radon. And for those of you who don't know, it's a completely odorless gas that kind of goes up through the ground just as a result of all the decomposition that's going on below the surface. And it can create cancer if you're coming into a lot of contact with it. So it's just coming up through the ground. You may or may not even be aware of it. And I haven't run into any of it just yet. So I'm not really sure where they get the stats saying Alaska's number one. But
do they do a test for that?
Yeah, they certainly can. It's like an extra $170 that you can pay for. So
Good to know.
I mean, I might go have it done in my place just to make sure. But I mean, even if it is there. Like the solution really is just, okay, well, we get a pipe and we exhaust it out that way, and boom, not a problem.
Yeah.
Like you can have all the radon in the world in the crawl space, from what I've been told, and as long as it doesn't get into the living area, it's just no factor.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, unless anyone else has any, I guess one more question here. So going back to wood here, does anyone deliver wood in full length on truck trailer, not cut and split? I'm willing to cure and process myself. Price if you know.
You probably could do that. You would probably have to ask around. Check the boards at the grocery stores for people selling wood. Odds are, a lot of those guys work for themselves. They go and they make the trees fall, load them up, cut them, split them, and do that. So I would imagine if you found somebody that was selling wood on one of those boards or on the marketplace on Face page, you could probably get somebody to deliver you uncut wood.
Probably. Another idea I have is if we have a lot of construction in the Matsu Valley. And if you approach a builder and say, hey, give me the word, I'll show up, I'll cut the tree for you and get this out of your way. Just tell me the date and consider it done. I mean, you do that. They might just say, yeah, go for it. I'm not sure what their relationship is with the wood companies, like if they make money off of that or not, but
I don't know.
Yeah, might be worth it though.
Yeah.
All right. Got a couple more here. As soon as I say we're just about done, like the questions come in again. So Jacob, Matsu Valley or Kenai Peninsula?
Oh, that's a toughie.
Depends what you're into, I guess. Like me personally, like if I'm looking for a place to just kind of decompress, get away from it all, and try to put the pieces back together, Kenai Peninsula is kind of my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I'm just looking for a place where like I want to live and do everything else, probably
Yeah.
more Matsu Valley, which is good because that's where I live. So
Yeah.
that's lucky.
I would say the same thing too. I like to go to Kenai. Well, I do dog sports, so I like to go to Kenai for that and just chill and look at the ocean or the rivers or just take a quick hike. I don't know that I'd want to live there. It's just too far from everything. And yeah, they got stuff there, but if I had to move from Eagle River, it would be the valley. I wouldn't move to Kenai. I'd go there to visit, but I wouldn't go to live.
Yeah, I'd really explore. Like for a while there, I was really looking at getting an Airbnb down in Seward, but yeah, the real estate gods decreed it was not to be this year. So,
Yeah.
oh, got some more clarity here. So from Jacob again here, for raising a family, that is all the hunting and fishing you could do. I'm not even sure Kenai.
They
I mean,
do.
fishing, yes, ton of fishing. I'm not
You can go
as
hunting. You can go
can you?
hunting
Okay,
there. Yeah, there's Caribou Hills, but I don't know. You can, and I think you can do bear hunting there. I'm assuming that you could do moose hunting, but that's more the valley, I would assume. But there's Caribou Hills. People hunt there all the time. It depends, I guess, what he wants to hunt.
yeah. Caribou Hills, is this literally hills upon which caribou stand, or is this a place? Like, what is this?
It's called Caribou Hills, and people ride snowmobiles there, ATVs. There's hunting back there, from what I gather. But it's called Caribou Hills, and I think that they do moose hunting out there because I'm pretty sure that they do. But again, it's Kenai, so I just go there for the views
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the hike.
Whatever they're into over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Not sure. All right, one more question here from K10A. What is the daily commute like into Anchorage in the winter months from the Matsu Valley? So you're gonna be spending some gas money. That's the first one I'm gonna say.
Yep.
I live kind of north side of Wasilla, so I'm about as far away as you can get, and not very centrally located. I actually used to live in Eagle River myself just a little bit ago, and yeah, very centrally located where I'm at now. Not so much. It is about as far away from like even showings in the Matsu Valley. It's like, oh man, that's still a long ways away. What happened? You used
You
to have
want to
this.
get away.
Man, yeah, it gets you. It gets you. I got caught sideways in a Airbnb transaction, and here I am now. But yeah, so if we're looking at the commute there, I'd say probably from where I'm at, probably take about an hour or so to get into Anchorage. But I mean, I'm still a long ways in there. If you're uh, going in a place that's closer to Wasilla proper or even a bit closer to Palmer, you're probably looking somewhere closer to like 40, maybe even 30 minutes, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, if you're in Point McKenzie area, if that's where you're at. You're more like an hour 20, hour 30. Depending if you're out towards Hatchers, that's an hour 30 on a bad day, I
Yeah.
would say, on a bad day. And depending on what time you're leaving too. So if you're a 5 o'clock commute in the morning, an hour easy from pretty much anywhere, I would think, in Wasilla. But if you're a 7 o'clock in the morning commute, I don't know, that's rough. That could be an hour and a half all day long.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. And I
Yeah.
mean, another kind of underlying question here I want to answer too. The roads during the wintertime are usually not necessarily going to delay you too much,
Mm-mm.
especially if we're talking about the big highways, because literally almost the entire population of the state travels on those roads every day. So
Yeah.
if it does snow, they are really quick, Johnny on the spot to get that cleared out. Usually it'll be like all cleared out by the time you're ready to go to work in the morning.
Yeah, the only problem that I ever see, well, and it's usually not from Wasilla Palmer to Anchorage. It's when it gets to Birchwood, Eagle River area, because everything goes and condenses down. The accidents, if there's an accident on the road, sometimes it can shut you down for a good hour. You could sit there sometimes for an hour. It just depends, though.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, and don't need anyone's judgment. I am just going to say this. Your sympathy kind of goes away a little bit for Rex after sat in traffic for an hour or two.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you go by them. It's like part of you is like, oh, I hope their insurance is going to cover that. And part of you is just like, dude, you just wasted an hour of everybody's life because you
Because
too
you thought,
impatient.
well, and I always laugh is and it happens every time it snows, is everybody with the big 4x4 pickup trucks that think they can just keep driving like 70, 80 miles per hour. They're the ones in the ditches that cause the crashes.
Every
Every
time. Every time. It's like, I mean, it's such a transitory state. Like, you're going to have about 30% of the people on the road are learning how to do it for the first time. So that's going to happen. But,
Yeah.
take it slow the first couple weeks. And yeah, you got a big truck, and it's actually, I'd rather have I don't know, what are the egg cars? Is that a Fusion? No, it's not a Fusion. Like the little
Pilot,
electric
Honda
car.
Pilot. Oh,
Yeah. I
like a Honda Pilot would do fine.
Yeah, I'd rather that over a truck, just because at least you don't
Yeah.
have all the fishtailing going on with all that dead space back there.
And for me, I mean, I have a truck and I do four-wheel drive, but 90% of the time I'm not in four-wheel drive because you hit a spot and you're in four-wheel drive. You're going and you're gone, and I have creatures in the back of my truck that I drive around. So, I got the weight and I got the sandbags and all of that. But if you're in four-wheel drive, it's just like this, and it doesn't matter. Two-wheel drive is your friend, and drive slow or
Yeah,
all-wheel drive.
yeah. Being really the big thing is what vehicle is gonna keep you safe, but not give you so much confidence that you're gonna be acting a fool out on the road.
Yeah,
Forget you're driving on ice.
I like being up higher above everybody. Being in a car scares me because it's so low to the ground. But yeah, you just got to drive safe and slow. I mean, you know what? If you're going to be 10 minutes late to work, it's better than your car being totaled or worse. I mean, you end up, so
Bigger trouble. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just take your time and be slow, be cautious, keep the cars lengths in between you, and get in the slow lane. Don't drive in the fast lane.
Yeah, stay out of the left. Stay out of the left. I
Yes.
mean, usually you can still drive like the highway speed limit during the winter time, but yeah, you
Yeah.
just always have to be aware of your surroundings, and
Yeah.
for the love of everything good, don't try to be the person trying to go 80 miles an hour when it just snowed.
No. No. Agree.
All right. Got a couple more here. You still good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So another one here from Money Dog. How do you feel about a person coming to visit this year to look for a home or a piece of property to build? That is doable. Um, and contact me and we will set that up.
Mhm.
Let's see. Okay, here's one from Alicia again. How aware of fault lines should I be when looking at areas to settle? You know, we are close to a lot of fault lines here. I
Yeah.
could not tell you where they're at. And
No. But you
I'm
could contact Noah and probably find that out. I would
yeah,
say don't move to Eagle River because they're all over. We got hit. Eagle River got hit the hardest during that major earthquake. But I think you could probably find that out by reaching out to Noah.
yeah, Eagle River was interesting during the earthquake because I mean there's fault lines and everything over there, but I was actually talking with the engineers who was looking at it. He said, well, what it was is we had all the hard bedrock from the mountains right there. So we'd
Oh,
have all the ricochet and the wave of the earthquake going this way, then it would hit the mountain and it would just reverberate back.
gotcha.
At
Okay.
the same time, you have that new wave coming in, so
Yeah.
it was just rocking and rolling there for a little bit.
Yeah. Check
Um,
us.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like the epicenter was like Big Lake. So I don't know
Yeah.
what I don't know what their story is and how their life was like, but yeah, not great across the channel.
No,
Not for
no.
us. All right. Well, I think we're all wrapped up here, Nicole. I do
Okay.
really appreciate it. You know,
Yeah,
it's been
absolutely.
great. Yeah, it's been great as always. Very very helpful for people who are thinking of moving up here. For people who are looking for help and kind of figuring out, you know, what their moving steps are going to be, and trying to figure out if who they should hire to help them. What's going to be the best way for them to get in contact with you?
So you can go to our website. It's Alaska Terminals is the name of our company. We're an Atlas Van Lines agent here in Anchorage. You can Google us and check out our reviews, and it'll lead you to our website. And yeah, just send a message if you want to. You can go to our Facebook page on Facebook, message through there. It goes directly to me, and I can answer questions. If you know, anywhere through the Better Business Bureau, stuff like that, you can get connected to us. Just send us a call, send us a message, and we'll help you out.
Okay. Outstanding. Outstanding.
Yeah.
And one more thing I'm going to do here. We started a Facebook page just a little bit ago for people who are going to be moving up here. And this is a private page, so you're not going to be able to find it anywhere else.
Mhm.
And what this page is, for those of you who are considering moving up here, you can go ahead, go join it. And, you know, it's intentionally kept to be a pretty small group. And this is designed to kind of be your first community as you're moving up here. So
Yeah.
these are people who are in the same phase you're going through. You can ask questions there, you know, meetups, and, you know, go create our own community there for those of you who are moving up here for the first time. So that's a great resource. I just dropped the link for that here in the little comment section. So make sure you click on that link. It is the first 20 people who click on it, and it's going to be good for them, or I think it's good for up to 24 hours. So for those of you who are wanting to jump into that group, certainly feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. I'll send it over to you. It's not my decision on the 24 people clicking on it and then the link goes dead. So not my thing. But thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Nicole, you're awesome. Thank you again.
You as well.
And we'll see the rest of you soon. Thanks for joining.